When you say you love somebody, your wife, husband, your children, what is involved in it? Strip it of all words, of all sentiment, emotionalism, and look at it factually. What is involved in it when you say I love my wife or husband? Essentially, it is pleasure and security. We are not being cynical. These are facts. If you really loved your wife, husband, children, not the pleasure it gives you belonging to a family, a narrow little group, if you really loved your family, you would have a different kind of education. You are only concerned with technological studies, helping your son to pass some stupid little exam and getting a job. You would educate him to understand the whole process of living, not just one part, segment, a fragment of this vast life. If you really loved your son, there would be no wars. That means you would have no nationality, no dividing religions. All that nonsense would go. Thought cannot under any circumstances bring about a state of love. And thought can only understand what is positive, not what is negative. That is, how can you through thought find out what love is? You can't. You can't calculate love. You can't say, I will practice day after day being generous, kind, tender, gentle, thinking about others. That will not create love. That is still a positive action by thought. So it's only when there is the absence of thinking that you can understand what it is to be negative, not through thought. Thought can only create the pattern, and according to the pattern formula, act, and hence conflict. And if you would find out a way of living in which there is no conflict at all at any time, you must understand this love which is total negation. How can there be love when there is self-centered activity? Smug respectability, ambition, greed, envy, competition, which are all positive processes of thought. How can you love? You can't. You can pretend, you can use the word love, be very emotional, sentimental, very loyal, but that is nothing whatsoever to do with love. And to understand what it is, you have to understand this positive thing called thinking. So out of this negation, which is called love, there is action, which is the most positive, because it does not create conflict. After all, that is what we want in this world, to live in a world where there is no conflict, where there is actually peace, both outward and inward, because you must have peace, otherwise you are destroyed, because it is only in peace that any goodness can flower. It is only in peace that you can see beauty. If your mind is tortured, anxious, envious, a battlefield, how can you see what is beautiful? Surely beauty is not thought. The thing that is created by thought is not beauty. To find out an action which is not based on idea, concept and formula, you must listen to the whole of that structure, see it, understand the whole structure completely, and in the very understanding of it, you have turned away from it. Your mind is in a state of negation, not bitterness, not cynicism, but because it sees the futility of living that way, therefore ends it. When you end something, there is a beginning of the new. But you are afraid to end the old, because the new we want to translate in terms of the old. Thought is not the way out. You can be very clever, erudite, but if you want to find a way of action that is totally different, that will give a bliss to life, you must understand the whole machinery of thinking, and in the very understanding of what is positive, which is thought, you enter into a different dimension of action, which is essentially love. The new can only be born in negation, not out of the positive assertion of what has been. And the new can only come into being when there is that total emptiness which is real love. Then you will find out for yourself what action is, in which there is no conflict at any time. The rejuvenation of the mind is needed because it is only when the mind has been made young through love, not through sentiment, not through devotion, not through following, then such a mind can build a new world, a new relationship, and it is such a mind that can go beyond the limitations and enter into a totally different dimension. That dimension is something which no word, no thought, no experience can ever discover. It is only when you deny the past, which is thought, totally deny it every day of your life, so there is never a moment of accumulation. It is only then you will find out for yourself a dimension which is bliss, which is not of time, which is something that lies beyond the human thought.